Most live low-stakes players ignore one powerful tool, usually without even knowing it exists. I only discovered it myself recently and it completely changed how I study live poker now. So in this video, I'm going to show you exactly what this underrated tool is and give you the step-by-step guide to using it for a big edge at the tables. And I will answer one of the questions I get asked most by students and viewers alike, which is,
how can I improve my hand reading skills?
Until now, my standard answer was to pay attention when you're playing, just follow the action and try to range players as you go along. And this is still a great way to improve your hand reading skills. But it's a slow process. And then I came across a software that basically lets you fast forward that experience. It's called Hand to Note. And one of its features is an absolutely massive database of live streamed hands you can replay instantly to study real opponents, kind of like Netflix for poker enthusiasts. And if you want, you can also click the little YouTube play button to watch the actual hand as it was streamed live on YouTube. But it's not just random replays of hands, you can filter the exact type of hands you want. I, for example, don't want to watch Mariano bluffing it off for $1 million in nosebleed games. That might be entertaining, and you can totally do that through the app that has analyzed over 750,000 live poker hands, but I want to see hands from stakes that I play myself. So I chose the parameters that interest me. Any game where the big blind is $5 or lower. You can even filter it down to $3 or $2 blinds and remove any games with antes, so you're watching situations that actually mirror the games you play. But once we apply all the filters, we now have a list of all the players and all the hands they played at live low stakes games. We'll get to how you can train your hand reading skills in a moment, but first I'd like to show you what style most winning players at these tracked live low stakes games play. You probably know that online players often talk about the so-called red line, their non-showdown winnings. As live players, we've never been able to track that. But this software displays these stats for live players too. Let's click on this player here, for example, as he seems to be one of the biggest winners at low stakes with a win rate of 134 big blinds per 100 hands, which equates to around 40 big blinds per hour, which is pretty good. And we can see that his red line is slightly negative. And this player here has an even more impressive win rate, although he played in games with lots of straddles and double straddles, so that will skew the results. But his red line is also negative. In fact, I looked at the red lines of most winning players at these low stakes, and almost none of them had a positive one, which means that they don't make their money by bluffing or being hyper aggressive, but by extracting value when they have a big hand. This confirms what I've been saying for years on this channel. Stay patient, take your spots, and always bet for value until you face resistance. But now let me show you how you can actually improve your hand reading skills. So let's pick this player called Chubbs, as he seems to have a solid win rate. And then let's just pick a random hand he played. So he raises King 10 suited from early position to 15 in a 1-3 game and gets called by 4 players. Already, this is low stakes deluxe. Flop is pretty good, but with 2 players to act behind, Chubbs decides to check. By the way, this is a spot where you could c-bet really small to give yourself a good price to see a turn, because if someone has 1 pair, they will probably not raise. But anyway, we see the next player to act now bets, everyone else folds, and Chubbs calls. And here you can start putting the opponent on a range of hands. What did he call pre-flop with and then bet the flop? Without knowing anything about this opponent, I would think he could have a queen, maybe a 7, maybe some pocket pair that didn't connect with a flop, maybe even pocket 7s for value. But he could also have a flush draw or just be taking a stab with nothing. The turn is now an offsuit 6 and he keeps firing. This time he sizes up to around 60% pot. Chubbs calls again, so what do you think about Villain's range now? Well, I don't think he would do this with a random 7 or low pocket pair, so this means that he either has a queen or better, or he is bluffing. The river is a brick, both players check. And look at this, our villain had 8-5 of hearts for an absolute airball on the flop, and then an open-ended straight draw on the turn. And now I hear you say,
But Andreas, this is exactly what villains do at low stakes. They call with random hands that I would never guess, so how can I even put them on a range?
This is one of the questions I hear all the time, and it is a fair question. So yes, it's not perfect. You won't always know the exact player tendencies, but it's still one of the best ways I've found to practice hand reading. So let me show you how valuable the information that we just got actually is. We now know that this particular villain called a 5 big blind pre-flop raise in middle position with 8-5 suited. We also know that he took a stab with absolutely nothing, but that the stab was for 40%. We then found out that he sized up to 60% once he had an open-ended straight draw. And we also know that he did not triple barrel bluff the river, although he had 8 high. This is a lot more valuable than seeing him show down a queen or the nut flush draw. I would now know how to exploit this player. I would probably raise even bigger pre-flop. I would check raise the flop with air once he takes a stab. And if I ever get to the river with a big hand, I would bet myself because I wouldn't expect him to bluff or go for thin value. And that's what I mean. This database won't magically make you a crusher overnight, but if you use it to focused hand reading exercises like this, your instincts will get much sharper. That awareness changes your in-game decisions instantly, and that in turn will add money to your win rate. Let me know in the comments below if you'd like me to do a live stream where I go over some hands and practice this hand reading technique together with you. But there's another cool feature in this app, because another request I get from viewers and students all the time is,
can you do a vlog where you go through every hand that you play, including the 9-4 offsuits, not only the highlight hands?
With this database, you can do just that. Rather than only guessing what your opponents might have, you can pick a winning player and then see how he played all his hands. And you can play alongside him. So let's pick Chubbs again. Ironically, in his first hand here, he has 8-5 of hearts himself. He even called with a hand pre-flop, but then folded on the turn. But let's look at Queen 7 suited. As you can see, he simply folded this hand. And then we can move to the next hand, which happens to be aces. Yay! He raises over a limper, half the table calls, and then look at this dream action. There's a huge squeeze. Chubbs now jams and everyone folds. And by the way, now you can see what everybody had. That's interesting again because you see that players called with 5-6 offsuit and 7 deuce offsuit. And of course, you will probably never play against these exact opponents, but players with similar tendencies are everywhere. And getting this shortcut by being able to train your observation and interpretation muscle can be very lucrative if you put in the work. If you want to try it out yourself, there's a link below so you can explore a limited version for free. But hand reading is only one skill that is necessary to boost your win rate at live low stakes. There's another easy trick that good players use to increase their winnings at 1-2 and 1-3 live. To find out what that is, watch this video next.